everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is MTG Ghoul Dude. Today I wanted to show y'all a little interesting brew. I know you've seen the colors of this commander and you're like, what? This can't be true. So I just wanted to turn the conceptions of zombie decks on its head a little bit. So without further ado, let's see what our guy does. Tobias Doomed Conqueror for 2, a white and a blue. He is a legendary human soldier, but don't get that twisted. He does care about your zomboys. He has flash, which is instrumental to the game plan sometimes. And sometimes you just want to do it on your turn, so you can blow the board up yourself and get all kinds of zombies. But it says when he dies, for each non-token creature you control that died this turn, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. Now I don't know about you, but I like taking control of when the board blows up, and I like having something whenever the dust settles. So let's get into it. Just to go on ahead and see what we're into. To start it off, we're going to go on ahead and go through the main base of the deck. And I was kind of scrapped for zombies to pull for the deck, but I think I did pretty well with what we have. This will include changelings and different things to fill out the main deck. So we got Fanbearer for a little bit of I guess you could call it for combat removal, or if it has an effect that you don't want to happen, because it's a 1-drop that has the ability to tap 2 and tap it to tap target creature. It's a niche card, but for, later on down the line, it might do us some work. Universal Automaton has that changeling effect. Binding Mummy. Whenever another zombie enters the battlefield under your control, you may tap target artifact or creature. This could be good if you just happen to pull a bunch of zombies from the graveyard at once to tap down your opponent's team. That way they can be open for attacks from somebody else or from you if you still have a whole board of zombies, especially if Tobias died a previous turn. Imposter of the 6th Pride. It has changeling, so it does love that zombie type, and it does get the benefits. Carfail Harbinger for 1 and a blue. It's a 1/3, but it has an ability to tap for mana, so that actually helps a lot if you wanted to cast some of these instant or sorcery spells we have that require the blue. Mummy Paramount benefits whenever a bunch of zombies enter the battlefield. Seabreak Scoff it's a pretty kind of vanilla 1/3, but it's got a decent butt on it, so we're gonna let it go. Tamant Vizier of Nakatum for 1, a white and a blue. At the beginning of combat on your turn, target creature token you control gets +1/+1 until end of turn that can't be blocked. And it also can be embalmed to help keep giving the love, and it will be a zombie after that. Turn to Mist, exiles a creature and brings it back. That'll be important later. Bloodline Pretender has a champion effect in the deck. When a zombie, you can choose zombie. When it enters, it's a zombie. And then when another zombie enters behind it, it gets bigger. Then we're going to go to Disposal Mummy. Disposal Mummy enters the battlefield, exile target creature card in opponent's graveyard. If you have multiple of these enter the battlefield, well, you're just going to start exiling cards from everybody's graveyards. Eerie Interlude, exile any number of target creatures you control, then return the cards to the battlefield. It's a blink effect if you're not ready to sacrifice your zombie, so it protects your board just a little bit. Falcon Abomination for 3 mana, you bring an extra 2/2 with it. Giraffe Visionary Stitcher gives all of your zombies flying, and it gives you a way to make tokens out of your zombies or a way to get them into the graveyard. Those Who Serve is just a value 3-drop 2/4. Cleaver Sky. Now we're starting to get into the meat and potatoes of the deck, because what we're wanting to do is throw creatures in the graveyard and later bring them back. So this allows us to sack zombies to get more. Irregular Cohort for 4, you get 4 power worth of on the board. That's pretty good if you ask me. Then we're going to go down a little bit and we're going to see Necroduality. Yes, that is a Necroduality. Anytime a zombie enters, you get a copy of it. So, yes, that is kind of a nombo with the commander, but that does help you in the long run because we are trying to make copies of our zombies. OG, the Exquisite Blade. This is kind of like a blink effect for our zombies. When it comes in, you scry, you gain the life and you scry 2, and then after you cast your second spell, you can blink a creature. So if you have Necroduality in play and you blink like an irregular cohort, you're just going to make, I don't know, at least 4 zombies off of that one creature blinking. Stitchwing Scob is just a value creature. When you discard 2 cards, you can return it from the graveyard to your hand, to the battlefield tapped. Advanced Stitchwing. Oh, let's get out of that right there. Advanced Stitchwing has the same clause, but for 3 and a blue, you can discard the 2 cards, return to the battlefield tapped. Eternal Skylord. Now we're getting into where the tokens get helped. It gets when it enters the battlefield, it amasses 2, and all zombie tokens you control have flying. We want to have flying so that our creatures will be able to get through. Hordewing Scob. Zombies you control have flying. Other zombies you control have flying. And whenever one or more other zombies you control deal combat damage to one or more opponents, you may draw that many cards equal to the opponent's dealt damage. If you do, discard that many cards. And then a backup plan in case you can't get any of your reanimator effects. Godpharaoh's Gift. Godpharaoh's Gift was something I played a lot with in, I guess you could call it the standard of, late standard of Amonkhet, Hour of Devastation, in that area. So you would basically just exile a creature from your graveyard, and now it's a zombie. It seems pretty good. Now we're going to go into our card advantage, our card draw. Different things that are giving us cards. Larder Zombie. If you don't have anything to do or you can't attack into one of those big old boards, you just tap your zombies down or tap your creatures down. So you could also tap Tobias over there. And you could basically surveil for 3 creatures. Charter Course. We will probably be attacking with this deck. So, I mean, it's just draw 2 for 2. Faithful Mending. Gain 2, draw 2, then discard 2. If you're looking to reanimate on your next turn, this would probably be a good one to play to kind of just fill that graveyard up just a little bit more. Shill-Off Entomber. Discard a creature, draw a card. Like I said, if you were looking to fill the graveyard up so we can bring them all back again. Compulsive Research. Draw 3, then discard 2 unless you get to discard a land. We do have about 35 lands in the deck, and the mana base is, as of right now, the mana base looks pretty solid if I do want to say so myself. Draugr Thought Thief. It's a surveil. If you want to put it in, if you want to choose you can look at the top, put it in the graveyard, or leave it on top. Or you can look at one of your opponent's cards, like say they tutored the last turn and they're just waiting for their turn to come back around. Well, guess what? It's no longer there. Forgotten Creation. This is a good piece of discarding your hand and grabbing a new hand. If you don't have anything in your hand that you're really looking for. Now, also, if you do have multiple copies of these out, they will trigger simultaneously. And whenever you say you have 3 out, what you would do is you would draw your hand, look at all of your cards, be like, well, I'm not looking to discard any of these, and you can just disregard those triggers because it is a May ability. Organ Hoarder enters the battlefield. Look at the top 3 cards of your library, then put one of them into your hand and the rest of your graveyard. You're really just wanting to look for, ways to bring creatures back or anything like that. That way you can just make all kinds of zombies on the backswing. Repository Scob. When this creature exploits, you may return target instant sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand. So say you kind of fluffed on your last attempt to bring back all your creatures. Well, now you can try and do it again. Kindred Discovery. Now this also applies to your token and your non-token zombies. So be very careful to keep from milling yourself out or drawing yourself out. It's very important. We're going to look at our mana ramp next. We got a Soul Ring, Wayfarer's Bauble, Arcane Signet, Azorius Signet, Felwar Stone, Liquid Metal Torque, Marble Diamond, Mind Stone, Prismatic Lens, Sky Diamond, Star Compass, Thought Vessel, Commander Sphere, and finally, to round out the ramp, that is a Midnight Clock to help cycle through your deck a little bit. Now, this is where those shenanigans start coming into play. So, Angelic Renewal. Not seeing a lot of play, but it is, in my opinion, in this deck, it's an all-star. Whenever a creature is put into your graveyard from the battlefield, you may sacrifice it. If you do, return that card to the battlefield. If you have this on board and your Tobias is on board, let it go to the graveyard. Sack your Angelic Renewal, get all of your tokens, and still get him back. This is an all-star. It's a one-shot, but this will surprise your opponents because they'll see that Angelic Renewal and they'll be like, whatever. And it'll just take them by surprise. Ascend from Avernus for X, white. Return all creatures and Planeswalker cards with mana value X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Exile Ascend from Avernus. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but we have a lot of 2s and 3s. It looks pretty good, in my opinion. So if you wanted to do all that and to have a select number you wanted to choose, that go right ahead. Grimoire of the Dead. For 4 mana and a little bit of time, if you can get 3 study counters on it, after you get the 3, you can tap it and remove all of those study counters, and then you can just bring all of the creatures back from the graveyard to the battlefield. Note, this does not make non-token copies. So whenever you bring all of your zombies back, make sure you don't have a Kindred Discovery out, because that's a possibility of drawing out right there also. Be very careful when you're playing with this one. And Kindred Discovery. Marshal's Anthem. This is a creature pump. This is an anthem on a reanimator spell, in my opinion. This is just a reanimator spell with a pump on it. When Marshal's Anthem enters the battlefield, return up to X target creature cards from your graveyard to the battlefield, where X is the number of times it was kicked. So if you got a few choice creatures in the graveyard you're looking to get back, kick it. Kick it as hard as you can. And another one that I'm just like, so far it's not even a whole dollar, but this is something that I'm probably going to end up looking to play in some of my other zombie decks, and you might see later on in the channel. Storm of Souls. For 4 and 2 white, it's a sorcery, so return all creature cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. Each of them is a 1/1 spirit with flying in addition to their other types. Exile Storm of Souls. This does not exile them when they come back from the graveyard. This does not make you sacrifice them at the end of turn. They just become 1/1s. But guess what? You're about to start beating butt with some 1/1s. And this is just also Kindred Discovery. Beware. If you have both of these out, they're still zombies. You might get a lot of cards in hand. Or you might be looking to do that. And now we head to our removal. Path to Exile. Just a all-around good removal spell. Swords to Plowshares. Arcane Denial. Counterspell. Disorder in the Court. Now this is another one of those eerie interlude effects where you can choose how many creatures you want to be exiled. That way you can kind of save them for a board wipe. Negate, Crib Swap, Generous Gift, and here we come into a few sweepers, but also like just I think there's only 2 board wipes in this deck, and that's Depopulate and Time Wipe. But Time Wipe actually saves a creature, so if you're looking to save a choice creature, like maybe a Giraffe or something like that, then it allows you to save that creature to play it later. And then we have a little bit of bounce in the Diver Scob. When it exploits a creature, target creature, return target creature to its owner's hand, and they can, well, no, exploit a creature, target creature's owner puts it on the bottom or the top of the library. That just got a little bit better. So if you have an Ulamog, guess what? Throw it on the bottom. It ain't going nowhere. It didn't hit the graveyard, so it doesn't shuffle. So it just goes straight to the bottom. And then we're going to get into some of the maybe cards that I was thinking of. Some cards that would really be good upgrades for this deck, in my personal opinion. You could probably go with an Akroma's Will to help finish the game out if you finally got enough tokens to just swarm the board and swarm out everybody. Anointed Procession is great for this deck if you're looking to spend, I don't know, probably about a good $30 bucks, $31. It's pretty good. Helm of the Host is also a good one, because if you have multiple Tobiases or multiple of any good creature that you have on the board, especially Tobias, when your creatures die, if you have a board full of non-tokens, you're about to double that, because it sees each Tobias sees all of your creatures die. And actually your second Tobias will see the first Tobias die, and that'll actually give you an extra one. So that's a good up on that one. Rite of Replication. If you can get a choice zombie going, like going really hard on a token spell, like one that's already flying or one that's given a boost, then it just makes it so much better. And then the last one that I would recommend is God Eternal Oketra, because when you cast a creature spell, you get a 4/4 zombie. And it's a token, but we're still looking to try and make tokens. But I think I've said enough. I think I did Tenep justice. But I appreciate you guys. If you want to see any more like of these off-brand, off-color zombie decks, let me know down in the comments below. I loved putting this list together. It just seemed so quirky, and it just made my day. And I place tested it a couple times, and believe it or not, this deck is less than $50 if you take out the basic lands. So if you give it a try, let me know if you have an idea you want me to try and elaborate on and see if I can build a deck around it. Leave it, like I said, leave it in the comments below. Like and subscribe and see more of this. But I guess that's gonna be it for the night right now, guys. And I will see you guys next time in the graveyard.